What's that?
Perfect.
You want to see that guy? Wow.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Wednesday, wow.
Wow. Good morning, everyone. This is Decentralized TV, Crypto and Coffee. I am the Data Lord. This is Jaime, and we are here to serve.
Absolutely.
Lady tips fedora. So I don't have a fedora, so I can't do that.
Well, we are
but-
here to serve, guys. This is a community, and we keep growing. We keep feeding and nourishing ourselves through serving. So it sounds counterintuitive, but it really does recharge our batteries to be out here and sharing our shared experience together. So
Yep. Helping noobs have a place to land and not get rolled is really near and dear to me, because I've seen too many people I care about who found wrong information when they first got into crypto and they got steamrolled, and it's not good when that happens. So let's be good Samaritans, watch out for people who got the crap kicked out of them, and let's help them understand what the hell they're looking at.
absolutely. And today is going to be a very interesting day. We just had the month closing, which we analyzed on Monday. And today is the Fed meeting. And there's quite a bit pending on this. If you remember, just this weekend, there were more bankruptcies going on. So it's going to be a very interesting day for us today.
The big question is it really bankruptcy if the money's not backed by anything? I don't know.
No, it's a Ponzi falling apart, guys.
Yeah. I mean, really, like, truly, the only thing that like the US dollar is backed by is like the violence of the United States military. Like, if like, for real, like, if you buy your house and you go 100% own your house and you stop paying property taxes, they will put you in jail, which is kidnapping, and they will take your house. So, I mean, that's theft. So, actually, grand theft. So it's like, I mean, where are your rights? Really, is the question. So, you have them. They need to be asserted. We need to find a safe way to make sure people understand what our boundaries are, though. So, I think crypto is the best way for us to kind of start doing that and say, you know what, I really own this. There's no middleman. You don't get to create pretend invisible, taxes and points over me. I'm going to hold this, and it's my business, right?
Precisely. And as good citizens, we'll pay our taxes and everything we need to just to keep our civil society running and rule of law. But our store of value should remain always in our possession and not be given to a trusted party that can go bankrupt on you or disappear and take your store of value with you where you can't gain access to, also known as a bank run. So
a bunk ram. Like, that's not it.
Ram your bunk.
You're making words up. Yeah, Gundy. I mean, maybe that's a business you should get into. I don't know. He said unless you file paperwork to get the land deed title, that'd be cool. Agreed. That should be more and more standard, shouldn't it? So, anyways, I want to say good morning to everyone. We got a full house today. Indo up in here.
Good morning.
Up in here, Boston.
Good
just
morning,
boss
sir.
is chilling with you. What's up? What's up? And Gundy with the memes over here. So, let's take a look at the markets, shall we?
That we shall.
Hoopa! There you go. So let's zoom in. I hate how it looks big on my screen and then it isn't that big on yours. Isn't that how it works?
Everything in life.
I look at it, looks pretty big. So yikes on bikes. So looking at Bitcoin, we're at 28K. We had a little tiny 0.5% move up in the last 24 hours. I still see this as sideways movement. I see this as we're really not decided. Jaime will definitely show that on the macro chart. We're at an indecision point right now on the price action. Will it go higher or will it go lower is what we're trying to figure out. Are the bears going to pull hard, or are the bulls finally done with their nap? So we'll find out. Ethereum, copying Bitcoin, same deal. Not doing anything special. And then the rest of the markets are also sideways. Because why? Well, they're sideways because everyone else is waiting on Bitcoin. And if you were to look at what cranked, though, and I don't usually, look at meme coins or whatever, but PP coin, which it's called Pepe, but I like to call it PP because it's funny. It pumped like mad. So I'll pull that up after Jaime shows Bitcoin. But first, looking at my shorter time frames on Bitcoin, like my shorter time frames are even the day right now. Like, we're just in this channel. We're just in this channel right here. We're not decided on anything other than, yeah, maybe it's between 29 and 27K, and that's kind of just the channel we're running in. There's been,
and we have to stay above that channel, guys.
And there's been attempts to pump it out, but it hasn't really been able to hold on long enough to maintain a higher ground. So, Jaime, would you please?
Of course. Here, whip it out. Here we are. All right, guys. So, of course, if you see on the right-hand side of the screen, pretty much all cryptos are down except for the slow-moving molasses ones that react at a slower pace than the rest of it. But you can see that Bitcoin is still where we mentioned on Monday. We must stay above the 26,000 level, which is the 200 weekly moving average, which historically, if I remove all the drawings, Bitcoin has always stayed above. So we're on the weekly time frame. We can wick below it, but this time, ever since that FTX drop that pushed us below, we've stayed below until, well, that was FTX. This was the previous Luna collapse. But ever since those times, we've been below it. We broke above it with good force and have stayed above the 200 weekly moving average. This is what we're looking to remain above. Of course, we have levels we're watching, which we mentioned before. The most important one is this 200 weekly moving average. So that's what we're waiting for. Now, let me bring it down to a lower time frame. Here we go. And this is the 3-day, which is the lowest time frame I will go in my own trading style, which is swing trades, looking for the long term. If you guys remember, I missed this one by 59 bucks. So damn it. And now I'm looking for the next level. So of course, after a run up like this one, we expect Bitcoin to consolidate. Now, here's the big question. This is what we're watching for. And today is a pivotal day because of what the Fed's going to say. Will they raise interest rates? And what's next? If it raises, look at what's happened ever since they've continued to raise the rates. Banks are starting to unravel just because they're upside down with the treasury bonds they've purchased and now can't make the payments they need to make. There's no interest. There's no way for them to make money. And of course, the first ones shot to me that were targeted were the banks that were involved with cryptocurrencies as on and off ramps, Signature, Silicon Valley, and a few others. Lately, now the contagion has expanded to not the big boys, global boys, but actually the regional banks like First Republic and a few others that just this weekend continued to unravel. That's why you see Bitcoin making moves such as this one, where you would expect it to come down and break that support level that we've had ever since we broke it in January or established it in January. And we come and test it and start rising. We're looking at this middle one, the 28,300 level to hold. And today we should see either a next leg up or the attempts of it. The importance here, this calendar, this 3-day ends today. So it will dictate starting tomorrow till the end of the week what happens next. Today's meeting should dictate that. One, either the market is already priced it in and they will react in a way that most people don't expect, or it would do the reverse. Now, here's the big question, though. Here's a ceiling, a very powerful ceiling on the 3-day we're looking at, which is around $32,000 for a run-up. The big question is, will it become a run-up like it happened? So let me move back to the weekly. Do you remember when we did the first attempt where we ran up, broke that massive ceiling just slightly, and then dumped the following moment? This is known as a swing failure pattern. And there's what's called a topping tail, where it shows it crossed and now they sold into it. So they faded it, or there's a lot of buying and selling, in this case, selling at the top of this. Yet, when we come back down to test the bottom areas, we have the same tails below. So it shows that, okay, Bitcoin seems to be within this range, which makes sense if you look at it from a macro level. After running up the way it has, there has to be a consolidation period. We are currently in that consolidation period. The question is, will we run up first to then pull back? There has to be a pullback, guys, for this whole move to remain healthy. And as you can see, as Bitcoin has moved up here, the steam, the power behind it has been fading. So either we see a swing failure pattern above to now, then for the next month or two, see a consolidation period, or we run up and then hold this next level as support and just hold it up there. So that will be defined. Now, in my research and what I've been watching, I'm on the weekly right now. I'm going to change it to the 2 weekly because I want to share one thing that I came to realize. Why do I move up to it's like, Jaime, what the fuck? You're moving it to something that no one's used to watching. Well, whenever you're trying to figure out what is next, just move it up one level up in terms of time frame, which usually is a sign of or it's harder to cheat or it's harder to fake, because to create a movement at a higher time frame, let's say a monthly or an annual, you can actually find true floors, true instances, true supports. So look at what's happened on the 2 weekly for Bitcoin. We had the run up, a topping tail, an even larger topping tail, and now we're currently at the next one. And look at where it's topped at, monthly resistance. So it's showing, although the good news is we're seeing momentum still rising on the 2 weekly, yet we're seeing a lot of pressure down here holding it down. So this is what gives me good vibes on what's coming next. Is with the announcement today, there could be one more attempt to at least reach this 2 weekly 50 moving resistance. This is a very strong resistance that we held as support in the past, broke through it, and this is the first time we're reaching up to test it. So this could be a counter move to what everyone's expecting. If you look at the markets here on the right, they all look red, almost like, oh shit, this Fed meeting may not be good. Well, and by these topping tails, you're like, shit, it's looking like it's not going to really move up much further. Well, that's where you have these swings that we could see where it could attempt a final push to now come back and consolidate for the next leg of the bull run, which should occur in over the summer till the end of the summer, is where we should start seeing a leveling off, but be range bound during that time period. The good news is that we are seeing steam behind these attempts on the 2 weekly. So with a big caution showing, hey, this is a very strong ceiling we're trying to break through. So I'll keep you posted, and this will be my over the summer chart we'll be looking at to see where the next moves are. So bringing it back to the weekly, that's what we're looking at, is it's being bought up for this week. We have 4 days till this candle closes, and I believe this meeting should be good, bad for the banks, but good for Bitcoin. The warning I give you is, remember, there's a Fed coin being released in July. And these bank failures are good for CBDCs also. So it's good for Bitcoin, good for CBDCs. So it's the rebellion and the empire are the ones that benefit.
The Rebel Alliance.
Yeah. So guys, we're going to watch this very closely, but it's going to be a very interesting month and an interesting meeting today. So by the end of the day and by Friday, we'll deep dive onto what transpired and what to expect next. But right now, we're at resistance. Remember that. But you can start already looking at, okay, if we do dump down to 26,000, which is the 200 weekly moving average, that's a safe spot because we have not tested it as support yet. So that's a spot you could snap up and watch it move up afterwards. So regardless of what the Fed does, we see the ceiling here on the chart, and we see the floor here on this chart, the short time frame ones. So we're dead smack in the middle. So don't place bets, let's put it, in the gray area at this moment.
Yeah, you can wait for a little bit more confirmation, and we'll have some.
Yes.
I don't think we're going to see it rally out of nowhere without you having a heads up. So, and if there is any absolute confirmation, we'll pop in and say something about it. So,
well, that's good. Data alert. That's a great thing.
I mean, I do that. I do that whether you're available or not. So.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Well, ping me and I'll jump on.
I will. This. Yeah. So Jaime, very, very good to see. We shouldn't freak out bullish or bearish on Bitcoin right now. Let's just wait for news to come out. Let's have a clear reason why we've entered a big trade position. If you're DCAing, this is a good time to DCA because DCA is always a good time to DCA.
Precisely. That's your best bet every time.
So real quick, I want to get into just some of my other altcoins that I'm paying attention to right now. You may have heard a lot of people hyping up Pepe coin, people talking about their PP, and I get it. People want to talk about it. They want to show other people how it's working. They want people to know how powerful it is. And
you thought the Doge Lord was powerful.
Yeah, you thought. So I've whipped out my Pepe, and I need you to see how this works. Okay, so Pepe coin here is an altcoin. It's a meme coin. It's made by people who are just trying to poke fun and get people to react, right? So a lot of 4chan trolls, that kind of thing. And so it was put on Poloniex as a meme coin. And whenever there's no action, I've shown you how flat the markets are. People tend to rage meme coins just to get some price action going for something. And all it takes is you being a whale and having the ability just to rattle someone's cage. And that's kind of what's happened here. So you can see it was just moving sideways for a while, and people decided, yeah, Bitcoin's a little too quiet. This is the 1 hour, by the way. So like we're talking like the last few days here. It did this big old yeet stick. And I think one of the jokes too is that like Pepe coin being spelled PP coin, having a big green PP is, I think, one of their jokes. So I'm not advocating them, just telling you that's a joke. So we had a head and shoulders pattern in this. I don't think it's got anything else. That being said, it's a meme coin, so who knows? So if people are like, hey bro, you get into that meme coin? Well, good question. No, I don't typically trade degens like that. I'm not throwing shade at anyone who wants to. It's speculative. It's not a long-term investment. It's meant to be a quick flip. So if you see it as anything other than that, you need to come hang out here and get your learn on.
God. Yes, guys, a good trader can trade anything, anything. Yeah. So as long as you understand the technicals, as Brandon is sharing, you can find opportunities where the odds are in your favor, but not financial advice. You have to learn on your own. We've paid our dues, so trust me, these aren't.
It works that way. It really does. And yeah, I want people to see Dogecoin, because Dogecoin and Litecoin are a big deal right now. I did a special yesterday late in the evening. I put up history on Litecoin and its halvings. So please check that out. It's on the Discord. It's pretty helpful because I just only focused on Litecoin. And so looking at Dogecoin over Bitcoin, and here's a trick. A lot of people are looking at Dogecoin over the US dollar. I guess that's a level, but keep in mind, Doge has a very, very long history of being over Bitcoin, not over the USD. And so its levels are at this point kind of hybrid, influenced by USD and BTC. But I personally look at it over BTC because that's, I think, how most of the money is looking at it. So looking at Dogecoin though, these are day candles, right? We have all these sine wave cycle pumps, and look where we are right now. We're really, really small. We're in this tiny little wave, and we're on the down part of that wave. So I'm of the position that if you're into trading altcoins, you should look really seriously at Dogecoin, because Dogecoin has historically a good entry point right here. So if it were to even move in this small amount, we're looking at like a 17% pump from this current entry point. So no matter what, it has the capacity to really go high, right? Like if it was to play, even this level here, that's 65%, that's 129%. And if it was to play this game, 165%. So I don't want anyone sleeping on this opportunity here, because bear markets are made for these types of entry points. Okay.
Beautiful.
Not financial advice, but do your own homework, and I'm showing
Yes.
you the history on this. So,
And Indo is bringing up. Remember, Indo's background is also through the NFTs and rug pulls. That's where his expertise in one of his expertise levels. And he states influencers who made it big on ApeCoin wailed into Pepe's. Been watching them shameless shill and dump, which is precisely what transpired before. They claim owner, quote unquote, renounced the contract, but what people aren't asking, which Indo is asking, is how many Pepe's coin the owner minted and moved to different wallets to take nice several dumps. So he says, hey, I relinquish here's to the community, but doesn't declare that all these others that were moved to other wallets are his also. So
for
be
Pepe's,
careful.
it's probably wash trading. Yeah.
Yes. So
So,
be careful.
but for Dogecoin, it's not. So look at a really good entry point on Dogecoin, and hypothetically, we could be at a good entry point right now. I don't know that it gets any sweeter than this entry point here, but you let me know what you think. I'm also looking at Matic over USD, and if you were to look at more so the day view, and I love it when things don't load on stream. It's my favorite.
Live. We're doing it live, guys. We're joking live.
Yeah. Yeah. So if we were to flick Matic over the USDT, and honestly, because of all the NFTs, I do look at Matic Polygon over the US dollar, because it tends to trade more in the US markets as dominance goes. But we have this accumulation band and this profit taking band. Okay. And right now we really are in this accumulation band. And I don't know that we go super low, but it is a good entry point right here, right? Like we've hit tops here before, and we're at that as a support right now. So I think it will hold. I'm not sure, but I think it will. And so if you were to enter this trade position, it's really an easy 25%, even if it hits this tiny little level here, which it's likely to. That's a really easy target to hit, actually. So it looks like Polygon is an easy entry point. Polygon's crushing it on the news front. They're doing a lot of upgrades, inter-blockchain connection, real use cases, and even though they hit a speed bump of transaction fees, it's nothing compared to Ethereum. So
precisely.
So
they're builders.
I'd say that's a good one. And then we do have the Litecoin halving coming up, and I went into very deep detail in a special video that's its own piece. But if you would just humor me for one moment here and look at Litecoin's long term, okay? We have 3 months until Litecoin's halving. 3 months for you to get a bag that's worth something. So I'm not saying it's going to pump, but historically, let's look at what's happened. Okay. So historically, this is Litecoin over the US dollar on Binance, which I really don't want to see it on Binance. I don't know why it did that. I want to see it over Yo Mama. No, I want to see it over Poloniex. So because we have way more history here. So all of these these golden ones here, these are the halvings, and this yellow is where the peak was prior to the halving. Okay, so if we were to look at like the prehistory the pre-major confidence of Litecoin, we had the very first halving here. I gotta zoom in real nice and tight. Is there a better way to zoom? By the way,
Yes, if you go to your price on the
yeah,
right-hand side and
yeah.
click on the price column, and you move it up or down, you can actually do that.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. So anyways, we have this right here is the halving, August 25th. And right here is where we started to see confirmation that we weren't just moving sideways. That was the entry point for the pump. And it looks like consistently, it's like eight, what was it, like 8 weeks or so before the actual halving, we see a huge pump. And this guy here was 595% of a pump. Now, granted, that was because crypto
Yeah,
went through a big
just began.
revolution at that time. A lot of money came into the space. But
Yeah.
how would you like 6x on every bit of money you had in there? That sounds good to me. On one trade, no big deal.
I'll take
And
it.
then, yeah, exactly. And then looking at this, this here was Bitcoin pumping in 2017. That was it took everyone else with it. Bitcoin rises all tides, right? Or tide rises all ships. This halving in August 19th, we see really we got again to our peak around the same 8-week prior. So 151% on this entry point to that top. And then again, Bitcoin did its thing. We had another pump in 2020. And then we have our next halving. So this is in the future here. This is going to happen in 89 days now. So we have August 2nd is really when the halving will be for Litecoin. And so right here on June 13th or so is where we expect historically there to be a pump. It could be a little sooner, it could be a little later, but it'll be right in there. And so historically, looking at this, we are at an accumulation level, right? We've had top, and that's holding as a support at the very moment. So I'd say that as we test going under that support here, anything under, what is it, $85, that's a killer entry point for whatever is statistically, historically likely to happen in June or so. So I don't know if I can say it any louder to our good people here, but there could be some good trading opportunities coming up with historical precedents. And that's rare that you have trading with historical precedents. And Litecoin is tied to Dogecoin. And that's why I showed both of them, because as Litecoin pumps, don't be surprised if Doge also follows with a pump. Okay. And then just looking at the clock here, 91 days until the Litecoin halving. So keep your eyes peeled on this. It's actually a big deal, and it's going to be a really easy way for you to make some educated trades. So super not financial advice, but I always look at the history on these things. And if the history shows things have happened, then if that persuades you, scoop a position.
Yeah, and
you know what I mean?
I'm with Salty Pepper. It says Litecoin's last halving was basically in a bear market. That is Litecoin's. It's the precursor. It's the leading indicator, really, on how if Litecoin pumps during the bear market, it's a precursor of what's to come with Bitcoin. So that's why we watch it, because it's the little brother, and where all the injections, test dummies, and everything is put on the poor guy, and he takes it well. You know that the real thing, Bitcoin, will act exponentially on those results. So it's a good indicator for us to watch.
Thanks, Salty Preppa. Appreciate you joining the show today. So let's get into our stories, shall we? So our first story, Bitcoin BRC20 token standard becomes a new destination for meme tokens. So the BRC20 token market cap has seen a 600% rise in the past week, with its transaction volume overtaking standard BTC transactions on the network. So Bitcoin's BRC20 token standard has become the latest trend in the crypto ecosystem, especially after the Pepe meme coin rise in recent months. A total of 8,500 different tokens have been minted using the BRC20 standard, with the majority of these BRC20 tokens being meme coins such as Pepe and Mematic. Look, I don't make this stuff up. I know it looks like I'm being peripheral. I'm not. It's
Yeah,
it's context.
it's happening. I mean, it's actually happening, so you can't deny it.
I don't make the rules. Stems the rules, you know.
Yeah. Still
So
world
anyways,
building. They're meme building.
we live in a dorky world, man. So BRC is an experimental token standard on the Bitcoin blockchain modeled on the Ethereum ERC20. It allows programmers to create and send fungible tokens via the ordinals protocol. And we've talked about Bitcoin ordinals on this channel. You can basically do, after the Taproot upgrade, you can put notes onto Bitcoin. So we're able to basically scribe ERC20-esque content onto the Bitcoin blockchain block. So super cool because you actually have sincere proof of work backing your ERC20. And this is one trend. I just want to give a small bit of commentary here. This is one trend I think is enormously viable, and we're going to see it become a standard pattern where you don't have to have a proof of work blockchain in order to have proof of work security, because you have to, in order to go fast and have a lot of functionality be affordable, it makes sense for you to have a proof of stake set up in a lot of instances, right? That's just one consensus mechanism for a large portion of your, blockchain. But if you have maybe ERC20 tokens, for example, the BRC20 token, that idea inscribed on Bitcoin's blockchain, and you use that as a reference point, then now you have proof of work on the Bitcoin blockchain, the most secure blockchain on the planet, as a component of your proof of stake mechanism. And I'm not saying the proof of stake part can't be gamed, but it is much, much, much harder to game if you have some component of that stored on Bitcoin and it uses that as a reference to have to check the books. So I think that's an enormous way to improve the security standard of proof of stake tokens. And here's what's cool. This actually bolsters the importance of Bitcoin. So as bad press comes against Bitcoin for like, look at Bitcoin and all of its environmental impacts and all this type of FUD that really isn't based in reality very well, that becomes a really good rebuttal of, well, we don't need every blockchain to be like Bitcoin. Bitcoin can just be the one that's like that. We can have a few other small ones that maybe have proof of work, but we can rely on Bitcoin to provide that security mechanism that we have a high degree of confidence in. And then we can do everything else in an economically sensible and ecologically sensible way, like a lot of proof of stake, cryptocurrencies are handling. So
Precisely.
Jaime, you pressed your lips, so I really thought you had something to say. That's no big deal. You're allowed to press your lips.
Well, what I wanted on that argument, and you always hear it. They say, "Oh, Bitcoin is destroying the planet because it's consuming too much power." No, guys, it's consuming the excess power, the unused power that otherwise would go to waste. Also, on top of this, and a lot of people choose cheaper, like coal and dirty power or source, is because it's cheaper. They can't get funding, so they go for the cheapest thing.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is changing that, because Bitcoin now with the excess is providing, it's like a venture fund coming, a utility like TELUS utility up there in Pennsylvania with their own nuclear plant, built a Bitcoin facility, mining facility behind the meter, behind the distribution. Why? Because now nuclear power creates excess power that if it's not stored or used, it's gone. It's wasted. Now they're using that excess to mint a commodity, an asset that they can sell during time. So they're literally earning money. Bitcoin is funding the power grid, and Texas is using the same model.
Yeah,
And
it's funding renewable energy. It really
yes,
is.
yes.
And
And
not in a way that's hokey and used for virtue signaling, but in a way that's substantial and innovative.
exactly, to the point
Mhm,
where you have even chairman of the board and people that led these utilities
mhm,
now going to the energy conferences saying, guys, here's a way you can actually solidify your financials for your utility. And of
mhm.
course, it's consuming power, but it's power that would have gone to waste anyway. So it's not
Yeah.
like it's taken away. There's power purchase agreements that if the network, the community, the city, wherever the grid is serving,
Mhm,
the miner will throttle down so the city can get the power. So there is a balancing, there's a stabilization of the industry thanks to Bitcoin mining. So it just pisses me off to hear people, oh, it's burning the earth. No, it ain't. It's actually leveling the earth. And now things like coal are just not worth it. You have an
yeah.
asset like a Bitcoin that can fund not only your operations and expansion, but also the actual savings for the utility for the
Mhm.
future. So that's our 2 cents. And uh, we'll stick to it
Our
because
2
we're in the
sats.
business. 2 cents, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and we're seeing this happen. We're seeing a ton of innovation in Bitcoin and through Bitcoin, and I know there's a lot of other projects going on in the crypto space that kind of take the attention off of what Bitcoin's actually doing that's
Mhm,
substantial. But again, these other things are experiments. They should be looked at as speculative experiments with a new technology that Bitcoin introduced. And people are saying, what else can this do? And so, as long as you have those parameters on whatever you're looking at, and you understand that Bitcoin is uniquely, categorically distinct in this space, you're not going to be as confused as other people might be. So, and then, uh, yeah, here. Did you all see the news about the Kingdom
yep,
of Bhutan mining BTC using hydro since BTC was 5K? It was actually a story that I had to cut out yesterday. We were
yep.
about to get to it, but we went long. So,
But you know what? I
yeah,
love people who build in the shade. And Bhutan, the Kingdom of Bhutan is one of those. Didn't have to declare it. Now they're like, hey, bitches, we've been doing
yeah,
this
we
since
have we have bigger Pepes than you thought. So, I do like that. Pepe meme coin is basically shedding light on this cool new feature inside of Bitcoin. So let's keep reading. Although modeled after the ERC20, the BRC20 token standard fundamentally differs from its Ethereum based counterpart. BRC20 tokens do not make use of smart contracts. Do you hear that? They don't. What they do is they
consensus.
record who owns that token. So it's used as a component on the Bitcoin blockchain that another blockchain, a sidechain, can reference. Okay. The token standard also requires a Bitcoin wallet to mint and trade these tokens. So um, if you did want a BRC20 token to have a smart contract, you could offload the smart contract onto another blockchain and have it handle that piece. But this is the idea though. Smart contracts require a virtual machine. Okay. So, like Ethereum virtual machine, for example. And that uses a lot of computational power. It does. And that's why Ethereum, with all of their smart contracts and the heavy use of them, got so expensive because you had people with mining rigs all over the place, but it wasn't using the CPU very much. It was using just the GPUs. And so by moving into proof of stake, now they can kind of use all of the server functionality for smart contracts. And so I think it just makes sense for Ethereum, unfortunately, to move a large portion. And they decided to move all of it, not just a large portion, onto servers instead of just mining ASICs. So sad to see. Gundy and myself and a lot of other mining friends made a lot of money on Ethereum mining, but such is the way of the dinosaur. So the token standard also requires a Bitcoin wallet to mint and trade these tokens. So this works natively on a Bitcoin wallet. Your Bitcoin wallet is your identity for these BRC20 tokens. The BRC20 token standard was created early in March by an anonymous on chain analyst called Domo. Domo arigato. The objective was to make it possible for fungible tokens to be issued and transferred on the Bitcoin blockchain. The market cap of BRC20 tokens has exploded over the past month and currently sits at $120 million, a 600% rise in the past week. So don't sleep on this stuff, guys. Pay attention to what's happening with BRC20 tokens. There could be some really fascinating entry points for you here. And here we have Ordi, which, if I'm not mistaken, is ordinal, which is pretty rad. And then, yeah, we have a SHIB token on there. So these are meme tokens because they know that meme tokens get people to rush into the tech without even understanding it. And then once they're there, it's like, oh, this has a use case.
But make sure there's a use case, guys. Please, for the love of God, don't put your children's savings into these. Trade it, but be careful.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, there's more interesting ways to hurt yourself. So,
well, this is an interesting way.
Well, you can always get a cardboard box and a lot of duct tape and have someone push you down a hill.
Yeah, and if you fail, at least you can say you did it for the laughs. You know, it's a meme coin. Let's go.
I'm Johnny Knoxville. Welcome to Jackass. Yeah. It's that. The BRC20 token frenzy has also dwarfed the blockchain's original number of Bitcoin transactions. The number of BRC20 transactions on the Bitcoin blockchain between April 29th and May 2nd reached over 50%, outperforming regular BTC transactions. The BTC20 token volume peaked on May 1st with 366,000 transactions, with the total number of transactions on the network being 2.36 million. So you can see on this graph here, non-BRC20 is these big, dark candles, but all of the red candles, those are BRC20 transactions. So you can see how, at least on these 2 days here, the BRC20 was more than normal transactions.
The amount of transactions. Interesting.
Yeah. So interesting. And that's why I showed you the PP. They love that I could say that. That's why I was showing you this price action right here on PP Pepe, whatever you want to call it. I call it PP because it's funny.
What did YouTube start censoring?
Yeah, well, you can say words, believe it or not. But right here, when this price action was nuts, I'm confident that's what caused that spike in our other view, right?
Oh, yes, on the transaction.
Yeah, that's what caused the charts to look like that right here, right?
Yep.
So, Rob T, what's up, dude? I see you. And
Gundy
is talking about ginormous Pepes. don't kick him in the Pepe. Yeah.
Respect the Pepe.
Yeah, every person on the planet was born because of a Pepe. Yep.
It's also known as the family jewel.
It's true. Along with the rise of BRC20 transactions, transaction fees have surged due to the new token activity. And a lot of Bitcoin maxis, of which I almost include myself, but I am not a classical maxi because
you're a developer, you're a builder, so you understand.
I believe Bitcoin is the most valuable token and cryptocurrency in the space and will always be, but I also think there's value in things that aren't Bitcoin, as opposed to I have some friendly channels who are Bitcoin maxis, but they basically look at every other use case of blockchain as being invalid, as opposed to I see it just as an architecture. So
right, adoption is our game and our goal, and this is one of those adoption channels.
Yeah, that's true. Since its inception in late April, the network has generated an additional 109 BTC in transaction fees for miners. Nice, dude. You hear that? That's cool. That's actually super cool. What this is saying is that an additional 109 Bitcoin were added to transaction fees for miners. And so I'm gonna give commentary on this from a miner's perspective.
And I can expand also. Go.
So we have the halvings. That's the introduction of supply that people who are mining cryptocurrencies get paid. So Bitcoin miners get paid two components. They get paid the introduction of supply, which gets cut in half every 4 years. And then they also get paid transaction fees. And so the idea that Satoshi had was, as adoption increases, the transaction fee will begin to be a larger and larger piece of what miners are being paid to secure the network. And the introduction of supply will become smaller and smaller because you won't need it anymore. But early on, you absolutely need it because it's being adopted still, right? So keep that in mind, that this is really, really good. This is increasing adoption because it's expanding use case. The thing that maxis would, be upset about is that they would argue it's making the network slow, and if the network's slow, that's going to decrease adoption. But I think they're assuming that adoption can only come by way of the original means. They're not thinking creatively of like, what else could this do, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like the orthodox and the progressives. The orthodox, like, hey, Bitcoin was created as a store of value and transfer peer-to-peer money transfer. Why are you guys playing with this shit? Why are you adding complication? Versus someone who's progressive is like, no, here's another utility that Bitcoin has beyond that. And on that subject, you mentioned Data Lord. That design is beautiful because the transaction fees are minimal from the transaction perspective currently. But as the value of Bitcoin goes up, it means more than the minting. We're going to reach a point. So you're going to see the chart kind of like, here's the minting, the value of minting versus the transaction fee. You're going to see that curve as Bitcoin adoption goes. So from Bitcoin's perspective, the set value of the transaction, that's where you see the flip between the minting and the transaction fee without sacrificing the network and the value being transacted.
Right. And you may hear some people use terms like Bitcoin mining is money printing and that type of thing. That's only partially true for a period of time.
Right.
There is a period of time where the introduction of supply is the majority of what you are doing as your Bitcoin mining, but
which is what we experienced.
There will be a point where you're not, printing money anymore. You're not introducing new tokens I keep saying tokens. Bitcoin is not a token. There are tokens, I suppose, BRC20, but you're introducing new coins into supply. And as there's more and more coins into supply, that then becomes a smaller piece of it, right? So at some point, Bitcoin miners are still doing the same thing they've always been doing, but there's only going to be sats. There's not going to be full Bitcoins in the introduction of supply, because it gets cut in half indefinitely until we get to 8 Satoshi values of one value, right?
And why is this so revolutionary? Is because it's built by code. Code is law. So the transaction today, a bank, they'll feed the shit out of you for any money you give them. Bitcoin, unless you're transacting, there's a fee built in, which supports the network itself, supports the miners, supports the security, supports the consensus. So, and it's decentralized. So there is no one coming in, all right, guys, we're raising the fee to this about. No, the network and the ecosystem dictates what the fee is. And it will always be in favor also of the ones securing the network, which are the miners. So it's a beautiful engineered store of value out there. Bitcoin is, it's revolutionary, guys.
Yeah, it's really something special, and I hope this is helpful to understand why Bitcoin's categorically distinct. But this is our headline article for the day. There's a lawsuit against Coinbase alleging crypto exchange illegally stored customers' fingerprints and facial scans. So let's see. This is allegedly. So let's
and that's part of the KYC, guys, that you're doing, and it's supposed to be to identify the person without identifiable information.
So let's read. A newly filed class action lawsuit against Coinbase alleges that the top U.S. crypto exchange, Coinbase, illegally stored platform users' fingerprints and facial scans. The lawsuit, which was filed in the California, it's always California, or New York, District Court by plaintiff Michael Massel, an Illinois resident who opened a Coinbase account 5 years ago, alleges the platform violated the state's Biometric Information Privacy Act. And so, again, he's saying the states. So every state has different laws for personal identifiable information, and that's what this is. This is personal identifiable information with your fingerprint and your facial scan, right? And technically, because it is part of your person, part of your body, it could be argued that this could be protected health information. So this could be HIPAA, depending on how it's categorized. So according to the lawsuit, Coinbase requires customers to provide fingerprint and facial scans along with state-issued ID as part of its authentication process to use its services. But the lawsuit claims Coinbase violated several BIPA provisions, including failing to inform customers in writing that their biometric data would be collected and stored, and not disclosing for what length of time the biometric data would be stored. So this is the type of crap I get roped into at companies I work for. So
yes, that's your field of expertise also.
I have to deal with that kind of stuff. The lawsuit claims that Coinbase should have destroyed the biometric data after customers successfully opened an account, as well as when logging out or discontinuing use of its mobile app. Interesting. According to the lawsuit, the collection and storage of biometric data exposed customers to severe privacy risks. I'd argue that's arguable. Says the lawsuit, Coinbase's unlawful collection, obtainment, storage, and use of its biometric or its users' biometric data exposes them to serious and irreversible privacy risks. For example, if Coinbase's database containing facial geometry scans or sensitive proprietary biometric data is hacked, breached, or otherwise exposed, Coinbase users have no means by which to prevent identity theft, unauthorized tracking, or unlawful or improper use of this highly personal and private information. The lawsuit, which estimates that Coinbase created and stored face scans for thousands of Illinois residents, seeks damages of $5,000 for every violation. And then these types of things rack up quick. So if you have 1,000 people, all of a sudden you're talking $5 million, right? If you have 100,000 people, it's, what is that, 500 million? So yeah, it racks up real quick. It's bad. If deemed willful, or $1,000 if unintentional, plus damages and attorney fees. So this brings up a really good question that I don't want to super deep dive right now, but how should we be thinking about biometrics and that being used as authentication? Because if that's stored in a database and that database gets leaked, someone could use that information on many, many other types of authentication. So that's why multi-factor is critical, because even if someone were to compromise your biometric, if you have fingerprint and something then at very least that something could be device specific, right? So it's unlikely that that device specific code could get compromised and used on every device and account you have, because if you're smart enough to have different codes and not be those people who just put the birthday as their code, or 1 2 3 4, don't be that guy. So who knows? So interesting conversation. We'll see what happens with this, but protect your neck out there, guys. Seriously, if you haven't gone through all of your accounts, not just crypto, all of your accounts, period, and made sure you have 2-factor authentication on everything, you probably should systematically go through it, make some spreadsheet and actually walk through everything and just make sure you're not going to get pwned. Because it's better to do that before there's a issue than to get hacked and then go, shoot, I need to do this, and then walk through everything stressed out that
because once they open one, they can gain access to the rest. And on that spreadsheet that Brandon mentioned to create, please don't leave it online. Don't leave it on your Dropbox. Don't leave it somewhere where it can be pawned.
Pwned.
So where it's, my apologies. So in that, keep it, let's say, on a stored shared on a portable drive or a backup drive. Password.
You forgot 1 2 3 at the end. That's so good. So seriously, Dirty Shovel Gang, I just want to give a shout outs here. Our last article for the day here, and we knew this would happen, but I love to read it. Hardware wallets gain popularity as FTX collapse pushes users to self-custody. Throw a hashtag Dirty Shovel Gang in the chat if you were part of that Dirty Shovel Gang, baby. Let's go. Yeah. So this is what happened. People got their snot rocked on FTX, and then realized like, well, why did this happen? And the huge conversation came up, and we rattled this cage as loud as we could. This is not a crypto problem. This is a centralized exchange problem, and we can fix this by just getting self-custody. And so tons of people heard that, shot across the bow, and tons of people got Trezors and ledgers and got their keys stored properly. And hear this out. This is your protocol. Okay, get a ledger or Trezor. We have Ledger affiliate link in our description if you want to help us and support this channel here. That doesn't go into our pockets. That goes into tools and things to create value for you guys. And keep in mind, you then want to take that ledger and the seed phrases, put it into a plastic bag to help it be waterproof. And then you want to put that plastic bag, like a Ziploc kind of thing, into a fire safe to keep it safe from, fire and from, other types of physical blunt force trauma, that kind of thing. And then put that in a secure location where someone has to fight you Mortal Kombat style in order to get it. If you have that type of OPSEC, you are unlikely to get your crap rocked. Okay. Just that should be your security pattern. And so to read this real quick, the collapse of FTX crypto exchange pushed many users away from exchanges and into storing their own crypto, but the potential of human error remains. FTX was not alone in creating this trend. Celsius Network, Three Arrows Capital, and Terra, and other crypto companies failing in 2022, as well as March 2023 banking crisis, significantly contributed to the leading users to self-custody. And I'm grateful. There's always a bright side to every dark story. There is. Like,
it's a lesson learned, really.
Yeah. We now know to keep this close to our chest, right? We're going to take this serious. F word Sam said a person whose funds are still trapped in FTX, referring to the founder and former CEO, currently a suspected criminal, Sam Bankman-Fried. But
No, my point with SBF was involved with other failures above. So SBF has been the common denominator. It's almost like a plant to bring the whole industry
He's the
down.
fall guy for it, I think. Yeah. But I should have managed my risk too, an anonymous person told Wire. He now stores his coins himself and puts them on exchanges briefly for trading purposes.
And on that point, by the way, decentralized exchanges are a way also. So here they're saying, oh, he sends it to an exchange, does the trade and pulls it back.
Stay in custody.
Correct. Versus a DEX, which there's 8. We'll expand on that, but a DEX stays within your wallet, does the exchange, it comes straight back to your wallet. So guys, it's the industry is adapting. I mean, it's always been there, but FTX was a good catalyst to now wake people up that you have to be responsible for your own store of value.
Right. Yeah. And not your keys, not your money. And I hate that they didn't use this correctly. It's not your keys, not your cheese, homie. If it don't rhyme, don't say it. Became a mantra to live by in the crypto community. Yeah, I guess if you're a degenerate and don't know how to rhyme English words, it's cheese, bro.
And it's always been in the industry, community, crypto community.
It has been.
It's the noobs that made the mistake.
Well, they didn't know better. Yeah. And frankly, they didn't know better because all of the OGs did a bad job of being loud. A lot of the OGs are just sweaty nerds who have a really hard time going on camera and talking. So we have a hard time going on camera and talking, but we just accept it's going to be awkward. So
and just roll with it. We're here to share. We're here to build.
What it is. Yeah. If a centralized entity holds your money, many experts argue it's not really yours. And I'd agree too. To make it yours, you need self-custody, aka put it in a cold wallet, hashtag Dirty Shovel Gang.
Yes.
So we don't need to read this full thing, but I do want you to see that there's an enormous move to self-custody. It's huge. A lot of people are paying attention, and don't use MetaMask for self-custody. There's a lot of security issues with MetaMask. I'm not saying you can't use it for anything, but I would say don't store your value there.
Correct.
Treat it like a centralized exchange in its security
It's not
application.
a safe. It's a transaction tool. So don't store it.
Yeah, I'd say that's the case. But anyways, we are at the end of time today. Thank you so much for this wonderful hump day. If you would, go check out that Litecoin video we posted on DCTV just to see the full history in full detail. Until next time, keep calm and hodl on. I'm the Data Lord. This is Jaime, Decentralized TV. And keep calm and hodl on.
We'll see you on Friday.
I know you're going to do it. The question is, are we going to awkwardly dance? They don't know. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't.
And just ramble as we go out.